Hello, everyone. My name is Ephraim Katsir on behalf of Sephardic Heritage International in DC, or SHIN DC. Welcome to our Learn to Chant the Torah webinar series, class number 3, with instructor Isaac Treuherz.
Hi. So to kick off this week, I want to sort of preface things by saying that I am on holiday at the moment in sunny Yorkshire, not actually very sunny. So it's possible my internet will slip a little. Hopefully not. But if at any point I go like robot voice or the connection goes bad, don't be polite. Just unmute, yell at me, and I'll say whatever I said again. But I'd rather say that now than people then spend the whole hour being very polite and no one has any idea what I was saying at the end of it. Okay, so we want to, as usual, continue just a little bit before last week left off. Before we do, is there anyone here who hasn't been yet? I reckon over the last 2 weeks we've got all the introductions out the way, but if there is anyone new, do you want to briefly just say who you are? Okay, so we'll jump right in. So last week we learned the second chant, which uses slightly bigger shapes than the first chant. But although we got the vague shape of it, we didn't really learn the nuances. As you're hearing this larger chant, and I say larger because it goes higher and then lower than the other one, which stays quite small. They're not sort of technically called bigger and smaller. It's just how I think of them. We learnt the second one of those last week. And what I'd like to do today is go over some of the nuances that appear with this second chant, which is a little more nuanced than the first one, and also learn our first couple of melodic motifs. So these are melodies that happen briefly on particular words. So we're going to go straight to the we're going to go straight to a reading sheet. Sorry. There we go. So here is this week's sheet, and I'm going to start by using what's here on number 1, which is our example. So I want to make sure that we're linking, because I realized this went a little faster for last week, that we're linking the melodies to individual marks as we go. So the larger, what I'm calling the larger pattern, which is mehupach, which is the name for this little arrow, kadma, holech, splits up as follows. Ashir ladonai ki ga'o ga'a. So you can think about it as up, back to where we started, down, and home. Me'upach kadma, holech zakev katon, ashir ladonai ki ga'o ga'a. Again, if I go quickly on examples like this, for people regarding the words, I don't want you to only hear me practicing slowly because no one actually reads like that. So it's important as well that you, so don't worry if, oh, he did that really quickly. It's important you sort of hear it as well, how it actually would be said. And then we can slow down and speed up as we need. So slow version is, Ashir Adonai ki ga'o ga'a, Ashir Adonai ki ga'o ga'a. Quicker. Ashir Adonai ki ga'o ga'a. It's sort of like a much more expressive sentence before coming to where you closed. Ashir Adonai ki ga'o ga'a. Susfuchvo. And these two marks are Ma'arikanataha. They put them these two words together into one another. Susvachavo, Ramavayam, down and then home. Susvachavo, Ramavayam. And this is the chant we learned in the first week. Ashir al Adonai ki ga'a susvachavo Ramavayam. Once more, the whole verse. Ashir al Adonai ki ga'a susvachavo Ramavayam. So now I've used this as our example. These we're going to do just a little bit of revision. So someone want to read 2.1 for us, and this is the simple chant na 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 ba da ba 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 that we learned in the first week. So it's like this chant. Jordan?
Sure. Ve'ahavta l're'echa kamo. Wait, sorry. Ve'ahavta l're'echa kamocha ani Adonai.
Yeah, spot on. And someone want to do 2.2? If people don't want to, if it's because you're shy, that's fine. But also, is there anything anyone wants to ask about something that might not be clear about 2.2? Daniel, you look thoughtful.
I think I'm good on 2.2.
Do you want to give it a go then?
Sure. Hotzianu Adonai mimitzrayim.
Yeah. You want to try and make a bit of a separation. So this mark here, you can see it's dividing after Adonai. So you kind of had Hotzianu, Adonai mimitzrayim. But we want to try Hotzianu Adonai mimitzrayim, if that makes sense.
Hotzianu Adonai mimitzrayim.
It's all grouping more important than notes for these small notes. Okay, and then to go back to our, this is what we learned last week. Someone want to, I know I was just reading a lot at the beginning, but if someone want to read out one so we can revise this top line chant, which was last week's new one. Monique, is that a hand up?
It was my singing to myself, but I can't. Ashira l'Adonai ki ga'o ga'a sus verochvo rama bayam.
Yeah, great. Okay, so we've now, that's what we've just sung is everything we've done so far in the past 2 weeks. So now let's go on a bit. What happens when you have these marks we've met in the top line, but if you maybe don't have all three of them? So if you don't have holech, it's very straightforward. I realize this sentence won't make sense word-wise, but just for example, all we would have if we didn't have holech is we just skip that bit of the tune. Ashir al Adonai ga'a, Ashir al Adonai ga'a. Bit more complicated though, if we don't have mehupach, or if we don't have kadma, if it's just one of these two, and then the holech. So that's what 3 is going to be to practice. So when we just have one of them, we go high and then we skip straight to the low bit. We sort of don't go back to the middle. So Anochi Adonai Elohecha, Anochi Adonai Elohecha. Or again, the sentence won't make sense, but if I were to sort of cut Ashira, it'd be like Ladonai ki ga'o ga'a, Ladonai ki ga'o ga'a, Anochi Adonai Elohecha. And it's the same if we have a mehupach without a kadma. But in this position, when the same shape appears like this, it's called a yativ instead. Don't worry so much about names if names are new to you. Just remember that if you see this mark without the kadma after it, then it fills the role of both of them, and it has a different name because of it, so it's yativ. But it's the same tune. It's like kadma holech zakev katon, yativ holech zakev katon. Does someone want to try reading 3.2 with its own words? Now I've sort of talked through it.
I can try.
Jordan, go ahead.
Et dibre habrit.
So you put the right tunes on et debris, et debris and habrit, but you want to put that whole bit on et and then go low on divrei. So as you know, Anochi Adonai Elohecha, high, low, home. Do you want to try once more?
Et dibre habrit.
There we go. That was it. Lovely. Once more, so it's solid. Oh, you don't have to. Yes. Does someone want to try 3.3? And again, we've got high, low, high, because we've just got our kadma. Marie, we've not heard from you yet. Do you want to jump in? You're muted, Marie.
3.3?
Yeah.
I'm not certain.
So how about I'll sing it first without the words, just with the names of the marks instead, and then you have a go at applying it to these words. So we have kadma, holech, zakev katon, high, low, and then home.
Be'echem l'chak Adonai.
Yeah, spot on. Last in this group, do you want someone want to do 3.4?
I'll try.
Go ahead.
B'sarei Eshet Avram.
Sarah and Avram are great. Do you want to try coming down from underneath for Eshet?
B'sarei Eshet Avram.
So Sarai, Eshet, Avram.
B'sarei Eshet Avram.
Yeah, that was spot on. And where you corrected an Eshet, don't worry about the twiddle. It's sort of the coming from underneath that's important. That was spot on. Lovely. So that's what happens when we just have one of these two marks and then straight to holech afterwards. That's the first case to know about, I guess. Next case, and this is where anyone who's already learned Ashkenazi Tamim is going to get really annoyed at me. So this, where we have it twice on a word, this is, so most marks always appear on the emphasized syllable. This is a nice example of a verse, actually. I'll pretend I put it here deliberately for that reason, that we've got Avram is the emphasis, Sarai is the emphasis, but Eshet, the emphasis is on the first syllable instead. So it's the Sarai, Eshet, Avram. So most marks, the syllable where the mark is, shows you which syllable is the strong syllable. Kadma kadma, that is actually not, it doesn't work that way. Kadma is called post-positive, if you're being fancy, but also you don't need to know the fancy words if you don't want to. Kadma always appears at the end of a word, no matter what. And if the emphasis is earlier than the end of the word, then you get a second kadma to help you out. So this kadma is the kadma that's always going to be there. Hello to Lily and Betsy. This kadma is the one that's always going to be there because it's the end. But then we get a one before it to tell us that the emphasis here is actually vayomer and natita. So far, so good. So far, the same across the board. Where the Ashkenazim are going to hate me, also, this is a different melody in this tamim system. So there's actually an alternate motif that happens when you get two of these on a word. But it's a very straightforward one. So if you're not having to, I know I just made it sound scary. If you're not having to unlearn anything, i.e. if you're not coming from a system that doesn't do it this way, don't stress. It's exactly like it. Think of it like any other mark. I just wanted to put in that extra padding for those who might be thrown by it. So I'll just, and it's called Treuherz kadmin. Because plural, because it's not that deep. Because there's two of them. Kadmin, plural. So I'll just start just by singing. Well, I'll sing through this line and then I'll sing this word lots of times. And this melody, you'll notice, is hopefully designed to fit in very neatly with the line we've just been singing. So it goes, Vayomer Melech Mitzrayim, Vayomer. We're finishing beneath home, and then we go Melech Mitzrayim, Vayomer, Vayomer. On mute, be singing along with me, so you start learning it. Melech Mitzrayim. Think of this as the first of the fun marks. All the ones we've got to do so far, we just now we get a melody for the first time. We get to have a tune, get to enjoy it. So Vayomer Melech Mitzrayim. And now I'm just going to do 4.3 as well, so that we have so we hear it with the mehupach first as well, and the mehupach is just as we know it. So we know it from kaved. Sorry, kaved et avicha ve'et imecha. Slower. Kabed et avicha, finishing beneath home, be'et imecha, kabed et avicha, be'et imecha. Let's go back to 4.1. And does someone just want to give me just Vayomer? Vayomer Melech Mitzrayim. Someone want to give me just 4.1?
I can do it. Vayomer Melech Mitzrayim.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. So now we have that under our belts. Does someone want to try 4.2?
I can try it.
Go ahead.
Natita yaminacha.
Yeah, amazing. 4.3. So now with the mehupach in front, but it's again just as we've done it before. So don't be thrown by it. Sorry, Lily and Betsy, you missed me going over the bass chant at the beginning. So I will just briefly just sort of sing. So this is the verse I used, for example. I don't want to spend too much time going on for it, but just to catch you up, we had Ashir al Adonai ki ga'o ga'a. So we have up to the middle, down beneath, and then home. Me'upach kadma olech zakev katon. Ashir al Adonai ki ga'o ga'a. Susvach bo amavayam. And this is from the first week. Susvach bo amavayam. So that's revision over. So then I'll do 4.3. So apply the same thing. Kabed et avicha. Kabed et avicha. Ve'et imecha. Once more, and then I'll ask someone 4.4. Kabed et avicha. Ve'et imecha. Anyone want to stab 4.4? I hear lots of I see lots of mouths moving on mute. So I'll give you a moment if we're running it through ourselves, and anyone who wishes to unmute. Lily, do you want to have a go?
Me?
I can have a go, but it will be wrong.
That's fine. Which is it? The phrase as a whole, or have you not got the Treuherz admin yet?
No, I've just not even got the tune in my head right now. I can't.
That's fine. You don't have to go now if you're not like in the space. I was being mean by picking on you.
That's okay.
Daniel, I saw you unmute just as I was asking. Well, I only saw you remuting after so I realized you must have unmuted as well. So do you want to?
So 4.4, right?
Yeah.
B'shivtecha b'veitecha u'lektecha v'derech.
Yeah. Great. Yeah, lovely. 4.5. Same tune again. Anyone else want to have a stab at 4.5? Marie, go for it.
Okay. Oh, Ruach Afecha Ne'ermu Mayim.
Yeah.
Mayim.
Spot on. Lovely. And yeah, again, we'll notice that it emphasis on the first syllable there. 4.6, and then we'll move on to the real fun of today. I realize that sounds really ominous and sarcastic. Genuinely, the next thing's a fun thing. So anyone want to do 4.6? Mikkel?
Sure. Elecha avotecha lecha.
Yeah, tune all spot on. The words are Elohei avotecha lach. Yeah, reading under pressure, don't worry at all. That tune was great across that whole section. I'm very pleased. So I'm gonna move us across.
I'm not hearing you, Isaac.
Isaac,
Isaac, I've lost you.
we can't hear you.
Can you not?
Now we can.
Okay. I was briefly switching over the screen share, and I'm wondering if that was too much for... Am I back now? Okay, so all you missed me saying was I'm going to finish the screen share and we'll come back to it later. So nothing hugely exciting. But what I was pointing at was a little diamond, which is the Revia, which is the first of our melodic marks. So this is where and more or less from now until the end of the series, we'll be going through different marks where a single, rather than sort of thinking about whole phrases, we'll still be linking them to phrases so that we understand the grammar of them. But what we'll be learning is just individual motifs that sit on a single word depending on a single mark. And the first one of these is this diamond. So it's called a revere. So we'll use revere just as a useful example word for a moment. And the motif is very simple. It's just revere, revere, revere. A few more times. Revere, revere. And revere, as with a lot of the melodic marks, I'm not going to say most, because anytime I make generalizations, I'll just end up correcting myself later. But a lot of them, they open a phrase. The way all of these marks work is through sort of successive division. You can, and people do these diagrams, and you can draw trees. So we've seen our whole verse with our like colon at the end, our sof pasuk. And then there's also halfway points that we can mark, which was our home, one of our homes at Atnach. And then there's quarter marks, which is the 2 dots. And we have the phrase that leads up to a quarter mark, and our phrase that leads up to a half mark. What about if you need further splits? What if you want to split within a quarter? So one of the most primary marks that splits within a quarter is this revere. And so because of that, it will often be at it will immediately preface everything we've just learnt. You can sort of see this like successive stages. So you've got the end of the verse, and then before it, halfway through the verse, and before it, a quarter of the way through the verse, and then before it, you'll have the revere. There's some kind of Greek logic problem about a turtle and arrows is coming to mind, but that some may be familiar to some of you, and if not for others, sometimes but that analogy might help no one else. So because it's going to be at the start, we're going to do some more silly singing in English now, and this time I would like you to pick something. Maybe a food, an object, say the name of the object with this revere, and then say why you like it, an example of it. And this is very similar to, as we will see, the way that revere it sort of crops up in actual verses. So I will do a few example ones, and no, I didn't think them up in advance, which I should have. Let's go for food. Pasta. It's delicious, and you can cook it in so many different ways. Shoes, they keep my feet warm and dry. Mobile phones, they mean we can talk to each other from far away. You see the idea. You get the sort of sentence structure that I'm trying to get across here. I'll sing one more revere. Revere. Does anyone want to have a go? Lily?
Electric lights, they mean I can see even when it gets dark.
Great. Anyone have any others? Monique?
Boicos de queso I made last Wednesday, and they are so good.
I didn't make out what the first word was. What is it you made last Wednesday?
This.
Ooh.
Boicos de queso.
Fuicos de queso. That looks delicious. Excellent. Yeah, do you have one or two more, and then we'll move to some Hebrew words. Thank you. Put it in the chat. I'll look them up after. Mikkel or Marie or Daniel, or I haven't heard from Betsy yet today. If I can poke you. Mikkel?
Crocs are made out of rubber.
I couldn't actually hear the sentence you said. The tune was all right though, but I'm very curious what you said regardless.
I said Crocs are made Crocs are made out of rubber.
Amazing. Rachel?
Curry and rice, a delicious supper.
Amazing. Let's move to some Hebrew. So there will be plenty of chance yet to practice if you have not yet had a go. This is the right sheet. Good. So I'm actually not going to use this as an example because this one you will probably know the words to. So I'll use one that you might. That's fine. As a general rule, if ever you're nervous about the words, I'm happy to read out sentences. I don't like singing them before you because then you just repeat after me. You're not practicing reading, but I'm quite happy to say read the Haya im Shama Tishmu or whatever the words are if you want word help. But anyway, you may recognize this line from the Shema. V'haya im Shama Tishmu al mitzvotai. And really notice the separation. This, like I said, this is another layer of splitting. We're down to a quarter here, and then within the quarter we have this. So do try and have a delineation. V'haya im shama tishmeu al mitzvotai. A little slower. V'haya im shama tishmeu al mitzvotai. A little quicker. I'm also gonna, so I don't want to bombard anyone with grammar and punctuation and like reading tidbits, but when we encounter things which are like fiddly annoying reading rules, I'll try and mention them as we go so that you guys are gradually picking them up. So here you might see this is shama rather than shama. Now, normally when you have a vowel, obviously it comes after the vowel, except when you have patah at the end of a word in this way, when it's followed by, what is the list of letters? Ayin, hey, het. That might be the full list, or I might have forgotten one, but even though so this font helps you actually, this font moves the vowel to be before the ayin anyway. But that's not always the case. So this isn't shama'a, it's shama'an. Reading note over. Start listing again if you know Hebrew. Annoying rules already. V'haya im shama tishmeu al mitzvotai. Does somebody want to try 5.2? Lily?
Vayisrael ahava et Yosef mikol b'nei.
Yeah, tune all spot on. At the end, that banav, it's his son. And one thing that I did actually want to start doing this week, as we've got to the Hebrew a little earlier than some other weeks, is actually let's be looking at translating so that we can hear the phrasing. So we have the Yisrael, as in Jacob. Yisrael loved Joseph, I wanted to draw out the way that this noun, the one we're talking about, we sort of state first with Ravia. The Yisrael, that's who we're talking about, is Jacob. Jacob, something about Jacob. Ahavet Yosef Mikol Banav. Yeah. Just like we were doing with pasta and shoes and Crocs and, oh, I've forgotten the name and I can't see the chat, but delicious biscuits. Does somebody want to try 5.3? Oh, my goodness. I put 5.3 and 5.1 at the same. Does someone want to try 5.3 anyway? But you have heard me sing it, so you have an advantage. So maybe if somebody who hasn't gone yet wants to go, Betsy, do you want to do this one again since you've heard me do it?
Thank you.
Yeah, spot on, nailed it. I will pretend that I put that twice there deliberately. All right, 5.4. The line breaks, I should also say, I was trying to put line breaks where there are divisions, but you don't need to like read anything differently. It was just, it was too long for a line. There's no deep reason for line break. It doesn't affect the tune. Someone want to try 5.4? Marie?
ויהי קרבי אהרון אל כל עדת בני ישראל.
Yeah. You sounded slightly uncertain. I had like spread the tune. It's like quite a lot of words for not much tune. So remember also we've got the sort of the down from beneath holech, the slightly more elaborate holech that we do when we've got it with these marks. So karabe Aharon et kol adat b'nei Yisrael el kol adat b'nei Yisrael. But readers, I mean, this is an interesting thing. Definitely, I would say S&P to Amim are more inconsistently read, certainly than Ashkenazim, and I would say actually than some other Sephardi ones as well. If you go, like people do that all the time. It's not even a thing of that's wrong. It's just.
Sorry, Isaac. You kind of broke up there on the last thing that you said.
So I was just saying things like different ways to do a halach, sometimes doing it El Kol Adat B'nai Yisrael and El Kol Adat B'nai Yisrael. That varies from reader to reader, even for the same reader from verse to verse. Those are different ways to read the same verse, which are all correct. Which I find really interesting because certainly there are other traditions where you don't have variation like that. There was one way to read every verse kind of thing. But yeah, that's the way we do it. So now we're going to be combining Ravia with our Turei Kadmin, which we had earlier. So just a little reminder, Turei Kadmin was Vayomer Melech Mitzrayim. Vayomer Melech Mitzrayim. Does somebody want to give 6.1 a go with both our Ravia and our Turei Kadmin?
I can try.
Go ahead then.
והארץ הייתה תוהו ובוהו.
Yeah.
I messed up.
Tohu is like you like started nervously and then like landed in the swing of it, if that makes sense. You can go straight to Tohu. You slightly found your way there, but it was right in the end. 6 point. Yeah, so I'll read that whole line for people, and then if someone want to do 6.2. Ve'ha'aretz hayta tohu uvohu. And again, we so this is from Bereshit. the land. That's what we're talking about. It's the land. It was, I mean, this is probably a controversial line to translate. I think something like it was empty and a void. It was null and void. We're talking about the world before creation here. So it's the land we're talking about, and then we're describing it. From the same bit of Torah. Does someone want to read 6.2? Oh, Lily, you look like you have a question, or maybe you respond to it. What was your question?
Could you just read that again, like maybe 2 or 3 more times with the ta'amim, because I'm just finding it hard to get the phrases.
V'ha'aretz hayta tohu uvohu. V'ha'aretz hayta tohu uvohu. You'll notice I'm doing very little on hayta. So where we have this mark here, this is just a sort of I don't want to say useless conjunctive, but so going back to what I was saying before about disjunctives, conjunctives, we have splitting marks and joining marks. All this mark is doing is saying that hayta leads on to tohu. Like we don't care about hayta. Get past hayta. Tohu's the fun bit. That's where we're getting to. And all that this mark under hayta is doing is joining it to tohu, which is where the tune is. So that's why there's sort of very little happening here. And there's very similar to the role that holech plays almost every time it appears, that we're just getting to zakev katon. Yeah. Was it hayta that was causing the confusion or something else, or should I do it again?
Yeah, I think I'm kind of getting stuck on like the jumps between notes. Like I just don't think I maybe am like in the scale properly yet, but
Sure,
I'm
sure.
like, yeah.
So I'll try and link up the different motifs a little more. So we've got V'ha'aretz, staying where we are, hayta tohu. So where we finished on V'ha'aretz, we're actually staying there the whole way till tohu, tohu bohu. This is our home note. So the via finishes on our home note. Tohu doesn't, but that's because it's leaving us in suspense for Zakev Katon to take us home. So we've got via home, hayta tohu, beneath home, ready for vohu. So that's the joins between the marks, if that helps. Great. So does someone want to try 6.2? Daniel?
Yes. Ume'etz hadat tovara. I need a little more help on my Terry Codmean, but
so I think you start a little low for it. Yeah, so similar to what I was just discussing with learners, where you start with it is the same place that we just finished on ume'etz. So we're finishing on our home note and starting the next thing on it too. So ume'etz hadat, ume'etz hadat. Does that transition make more sense now?
ume'etz hadat. No, had.
Stay where you are and only go up.
Tovara. Ume'etz hadat hatovara.
Each time you're I know it can be hard to like be sort of when you're feeling for notes, it can be hard to like be aware of what your own voice is doing. It is a weird feeling, but like, yeah, don't worry about it at all. You only want to go up from home in the transition between et and hadat. Et, hadat, hadat, rather than. Different people vary in this. Do you find it helpful to be sung back what you're doing so you can avoid it? Or do you want to not hear what you've been doing that's wrong so that it doesn't like get in your brain?
I think on this one, I maybe need to hear people do it a couple more times correctly. Cause I'm getting a little bit confused actually between the tune for Ravia and Terry Kadmin. Because they're very in somewhere in my brain they're very, very similar.
No, they are. It's a huge pain. and I will say that is part of the reason I want to get it out of the way. This type of like figuration, the stuff we were doing here about, well, sometimes you have, if you have the mehupach and then if you have mehupach without command, it becomes yativ, and then holech, and yada yada, and all these different tunes for these same marks. And sometimes kadma can mean this, and sometimes kadma can mean that. Literally, biggest headache of the whole ta'amim system. We will not again encounter this type of annoying situation where the same mark can mean like 3 different things. Yeah, that's just kadma. It's really annoying, but don't worry that it's all going to be like this. Kadma is just ruining it for everyone else. So I've lost where here we are. Do you want to? I'll do it slowly a couple more times, focusing on that transition, and then if you're happy to do it, you can have another stab. But again, I'm picking on you.
Okay,
Hadat tov v'ra. So I don't know how much you've heard Peter and Mim before, if you've used it, but you are singing another mark. You're singing Treuherz, the or Tlisha, I think Ashkenazim call it. Which we're going to do that in 2 weeks' time, I think. So we finished here. Yeah. Do you want to have another stab?
Let me try another stab.
Sure.
Ume'etz hadat tovara.
Yeah, that was great. And you'll meet Tlisha in 2 weeks, and it'll all make more sense. Does someone want to do 6.3, and then we'll move on from the Treuherz of Trey Kadmin?
Is this Gregory? I'll try. I apologize. I have the camera off.
Yeah, go for it.
6.3.
Yeah.
Adonai lama hadeot ha'olam hazeh.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. That was great. So we're going to go to 7.1 now. And again, what I'm doing is we're meeting all of the things that we did in the first half, but this time how they combine with Ravia. So to go over where we have a mehu, and this will be useful actually for people who missed this at the beginning, where we have kadma, or mehupach, but in this position, it's known as yativ, without each other, just one of them, and then holech zakef katon. We skip out the middle of our ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba, and we end up with Anochi Adonai Elohecha et divrei habuit ve'etchem lakach Adonai v'sarai eshet Avram high low home. So does someone want to try that with a Ravia stuck in front? I can see you all trying it. It's very funny seeing your mouse move. I'll give you a moment. Daniel, you want to go for it?
I'll give it a try. Vayehi Bechor Yehuda.
Yeah, great. Someone else want to try 7.2? Maybe it's someone who has not been in a while. We've done all the constituent bits of it. It's string women word. Rachel?
Ve'ele Shemot B'nai Yisrael.
So Ve'ela and B'nai Yisrael were all right, but Shemot wants to go up. You did B'nai twice. You did 2 holachs.
Ah.
Do you want to try? So well, I'll read it to different words, as in I'll sing it just to the mark names, just to help. Via kadma holech zakev katon. Do you want to have a go now again at this? Bearing in mind that these 3 words were all spot on. It was just Shemot.
Ve'ele Shemot B'nai Yisrael.
You did the same thing again. Maybe think of it as, rather than think of it as going up, think of it as starting high on Shemot.
Ve'ele Shemot B'nai Yisrael.
Yeah, that was absolutely spot on. Yeah. Great. I'm very, very pleased you got that. Someone want to try 7.3? Betsy? Again, these 2 spot on, but then at kavod you did as if it was. So there is it's the really annoying thing, and this is what I meant when I said kama means different things in different places. It's the most annoying mark. What that would have been the correct tune for marks wise would have been Ashir al Adonai. You did the Me'upah Kadma rather than the Kadma Holech. We want to have that nice low Holech. Zakev Katon. Do you want to where's it gone? Do a via Kadma Holech. Zakev Katon. You want to give one more try at this? Yeah, much better.
Thank you.
And think of it, the way it's easiest to think about holech, I think, is rather than think of it as going down, think of it as approaching from below, if that makes sense. So rather than, because the kadma is going down, we're going Ashira Ladonai, going down, whereas here we skip straight to Kiga O, so we start from low, Ladonai, start from low, Kiga O, Ga'a.
That's helpful.
So that's the way that I find easiest to think about it, so that you don't get tangled. How do I get down there? You don't. You just come from there instead. So et kavod Adonai. Great. That's let's leave this annoying little figuration behind. As I said before, this is the only circumstance in which a mark is different things in different places. All the other marks behave. Just in the last 5 minutes, we have here a holer before Revia. And like I've said before about conjunctives like this, we don't really care about it. We're just trying to get to Revia. So what I was doing before, at the beginning of the word with Revia on it, we're going to sort of now apportion across the word before as well and make these two into a phrase. So I'll explain. If we go back to Veha, no, let's not do a Treuherz min example because no one likes Treuherz min. Vehaya, or Veyisrael. This first bit, we're going to put it on Vayomer. Vayomer Elohim Vayomer Elohim. I'll do it a few more times slowly. Vayomer Elohim. And then quickest you get the feel of how it's like in situ. Vayomer Elohim. Vayomer Elohim. Does someone want to give 8.1 a go? Betsy? Or you just, so you it looked like a hand up, you're scratching your forehead. So yeah. And then the second line is what we're used to. Back to normal. 8.1, any takers? Lily?
Vayomer Elohim Yehi Ma'orot Birkia HaShamayim.
Yeah, spot on. Including the patach thing I was talking about earlier. That was all great. And then to round us off for the end of this week, someone want to close with 8.2.
I can try it.
I can't actually see who. Oh, Jordan. Yeah, go for it.
Hi hamakom asher ata omed alav.
Great. What a way to finish. Delightful. Yeah, so to go over everything we've had so far, we know our the simplest phrase, and before we've done any sort of splitting, as it were, end of verse. Or this can also go to the halfway. Then no splits. Then one split halfway through the verse. Another split. So we have the verse in quarters. And we have this melody. And yeah, I know there's like 1/4 in this verse. And it's not about maths when I say but and then again, and we have V'haya V'via. And as the weeks go on, we will keep on chopping up our verses into ever smaller chunks and have more melodies. So that's that. It's ending time, so you feel free to sign off. But does anyone have any questions before we do?
Could you do the Tere Kadmin one more time?
Sure. Tere Kadmin is odd because it goes up and down, but with different notes on the way up and on the way down. And then home, and you'll get the recording of this, so you can go over that bit as much as you want. You can edit it out and make it your text tone. Please don't make my voice your text tone, but you could if you wanted this to principle. Anyone else have any other questions? I know I voiced angst towards sheet music, and I detest writing out entire verses, but I can also just send out just the notes written down for Tere Kadmin in the next email if people would find it helpful to be able to tap it themselves on a piano or something like that. Any other questions? And if not, we'll close. Amazing. Thank you all for another great week. Next week, we will, for those who know marks, we're probably going to do Daga and Tavir, and also Zaka and Segal, which are the same the same as dagan. Yeah. So we've got, we're flying through them.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you
right.
so much.
Thank you. Shavua Tov, everyone.
Shavua Tov, Mevorach, everyone.
Thanks.
See you,
Next week.
see you next Sunday, God willing, same time. And thank you so much, Isaac. Chazaku Baruch. Our time is up. So till next time.
Bye-bye.
Shavua Tov.